Hello and
Hi.
welcome back. We've taken a little break, but now we are here.
Yeah, actually, a kind of a long break, right?
Kind of a long break. Was
Last
that
time?
me? Was that me? Sorry, that was me.
Yeah,
I
actually,
think
a
the
kind
echo
of a
was
long
me.
break, right? Yeah, I have muted both
Done.
muted.
Sorry. Now it should be done. I think no echo now. Apologies. Okay. Yes, kind of a long break, but we did have a lot of things happening. We did have the candidates. We had another chess tour, and we did.
Yeah.
Well, I did have the Easter, the Orthodox Easter.
Yes, and I got to join with Raluca on the countryside in Romania, which was very nice.
I showed her some of our traditions and the countryside, getting her the real Romanian experience.
With doing a little bit of, I wouldn't say gardening work, but picking your own vegetables and painting eggs. And I got to taste your grandfather's wine. It was all very nice.
It's a great wine producer.
Yes. Really.
And now we're ready to go back to chess and see some attacking games.
Yeah.
We are getting very close to ending this series. I think we will only have one more, and then we will have to think about a new topic for the next series. We are accepting ideas, so if you have any requests, please let us know, and Sophie will be the one to choose from them.
Yeah.
So let's start with this. Well, today we're looking at Mamediyarov. I think everybody knows who he is, very strong grandmaster. And we're going to start with this position because it's a very beautiful continuation, and the way he wins this is amazing. It was a crazy game up to here. There was a g4 very early in the game happening, and then we got here. So what
Yeah.
should we do now with white at this point?
Well, I want to say about Mamadjadov that I've been looking up to him a great deal, also because he used to play the Budapest Gambit as
Yes.
one of the only really really good guys who played the Budapest Gambit. Probably he wouldn't play it in like a classical game, but he would play it sometimes in like rapid games, and so I could justify playing that if he could play it, I could play it as well. And now this is of course not a Budapest Gambit because he has the white pieces, and
He has
also
a white
it
pieces.
actually reminds me a little bit of an opening that I have played a lot, the Smith-Morra Gambit. And this looks like a position where you should really think about putting your knight on d5. With the king and the white rook on the e file,
It's the
it's
first thing that comes to mind, right?
first thing that comes to mind is knight d5.
That's nice.
Because if black takes, maybe I can make some arrows. And of course, people can write in the chat if they want to help me out, even though I feel like I this one is correct. If black takes, then we take with the e pawn, and that's a discovery check. And then question if he puts something like bishop e7, because if I push d6, he can't take with the bishop, but he can maybe take with the queen. So I haven't figured this one out until the end. So you can maybe write some
suggestions after.
That can maybe write some more moves. Now I think I have the first one, but that's about it.
There's another suggestion of e5 that seems to work as well. I think e5 also works in this position. It makes a lot of sense. This was a blitz game, I have to say. So
okay,
knight d5 makes even more sense. You are playing
then you don't even have to calculate if it's
no.
a blitz. You just play it. Yeah.
You just go for knight d5 and see where this takes you, know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if you don't get the piece back immediately, it can still just be so uncomfortable for black.
Yes, that's the point. And here bishop e7 is the best move for black, for sure. And I don't know what he was planning, but there's an idea here of rook e7, which seems to be very interesting.
Yeah, maybe just going all in.
What's a rook?
Yeah.
What's a rook in this position?
I rook against an open king.
King e7, it's not, I mean, you're not winning immediately. Knight e5, but there are complications here. There is a rook on a that's hanging also.
Yeah,
So there are ideas with
always just maybe push d6
d6.
and take it back.
I think it works in this position right away.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if anything will be hanging after we take on 8, but I think it should also work here, d6. I've looked at knight e5 here just to remove this knight from the center. No surprises there, no knight d3 checks, no nothing with the queen on d6. And here d6. I think this is, especially in a blitz game, it's just a position that's going to go on for
Yeah.
for
So
a while.
what here we would have no, not even sacrificed the pawn, completely equal and having the bishop pair. I think that's nice, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's just completely equal.
Yeah. Or maybe black would take on d6, but I think it's still, I would prefer much to be white here.
To be on the attacking side.
Yes.
In a blitz game, for sure, yeah. That's what you want. But this was not the game, and here black actually went king to d8.
Ah.
So it gets even prettier now. What do we do with
knight? We sacrifice the other knight, knight g5.
Oh wow, Sophie, you're on fire.
Oh, so like my knights, I can sacrifice them like crazy, because if he takes, then bishop takes, and it's probably going to be mate, or I think we're going to win the queen, and if not, then he has to protect. But knight g5, then maybe he can go knight e5.
Hold on.
Or we just take that maybe with the rook.
95 maybe, but hold on knight g5 pawn takes. What did you say you're going to play?
Maybe I said the wrong move then. Bishop take. So then it goes back with the knight.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. See, I got
it was just so exciting. It was a lot of fun, and let's sacrifice one more.
Yeah. Okay, so we take, he takes, so bishop takes g5 maybe wouldn't work because of knight f6. But then we take the knight first.
Yes.
We take the knight first, and then we take on g5.
And then we take on g5, yeah.
Yeah.
This is how it went. Knight g5. I think you can also start by rook g4 here, if you saw the idea. Followed by knight g5.
Oh, yeah.
But this is fine. Knight e5 that you are looking at. Can we still play knight f7?
Yeah, maybe taking on e5 first. But I don't have to sacrifice that rook.
Yeah, that's not going to be checkmate anymore.
No.
So maybe knight f7, because if knight takes, there's something on e8 here going on. Some checkmating ideas.
Oh yeah, because we get the pawn on f7.
Yes, we can look at this knight. Oops, hold on. Let me go back here. Knight e5. Rook e5, like you said, is also nice because then you take on h8. That's the point, yeah?
Yeah, so I guess you win the material back, right? Because the knight can always jump back to f7.
Yeah. But are we not checkmating here? This is very interesting to find out.
So I guess black would have to take, right? Otherwise we just win material.
You just take on h8. King e8, knight h8 is enough. I mean, we don't have to look further, I think. Here takes. Can you see the position on the board?
I can see the moves. So queen would have to move white to make room and c7.
Yes, queen c5. I was thinking bishop e7, but then you can just take on g7 and rook g8. So queen c5.
And then
check. Bishop.
Yeah, and maybe bishop f4 could also be.
Instead of check?
Yeah, maybe.
And okay?
Because I don't see a good way for. Oh, maybe he can then move the dark squared bishop and protect. Yeah.
There is d6 after bishop f4, and there's bishop d6, but d6 maybe. And on rook e8, king c7, I don't know. King c7 is a bit. 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 King c7 Okay, this is, I think, a position for Uno to trap the queen, because the queen looks very, very trapped on c5.
I agree. I agree. She looks like she's in trouble.
So rook e8, king c7. Now if I go bishop e3, and there's some d6 idea, this should be nice.
But what have we only sacrificed only a piece.
Only a piece.
I mean, the pawn on f7 is almost a piece itself at this point.
Yeah, I think so. What if we go here and then d6? I don't like that queen defending d6 here. Queen a5, I guess. And here d6. How is this?
That looks good.
There's no bishop takes because...
And the bishop can go to g2 if...
That's what I was hoping to get some pieces out.
Yeah.
And there's still a huge attack here for white. There was something, knight g5, f takes g5, knight f6, takes g7. Oh, I just saw that now. Let's see that. Knight g5, pawn takes. Yep. So here there's also bishop g5, the move that you also saw first. Knight f6, takes.
And then we push
g7. Yes, but we have already sacrificed a few things.
Yeah. Maybe.
And this is not, if this is not checkmate, then maybe black can survive. I'm still missing a bishop.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm missing a few pieces.
Black has to get the pieces out. It's probably going to take a while, but it's maybe too many exchanges.
Queen h7 looks tempting, but I think queen d6 or queen c5 again. Defend.
Then maybe the other rook. Then
rook g7.
Yeah. But then we're not really threatening.
No, and maybe the king can come out. There's a check and king c7 on rook g7. So maybe something like this. Okay, in a blitz game anything can happen, but from the positions that we had, here rook g4 is just winning. Sacrifice everything. And now if pawn takes, there's bishop g5. Bishop e7, just to show you the mate all the way through here. Go back, and now the queen comes in.
I didn't even see the whole mate. I just saw that we could play bishop
g5. I know, yes.
Oh, bishop g6 and take the queen, then it will probably still be winning.
Here?
Yeah, after bishop e7.
Oh, bishop d6.
Bishop and going bishop d6.
Yeah, that's right. Of
like
course.
If nothing else, then that should be winning.
For sure, yeah, bishop d6. Yeah. Bishop d6 is also winning. What did he do here? He went for queen c5 and now b4.
Oh.
And there she goes, trapped.
And if she goes to
c7, bishop g5.
And d6?
And d6, I think, also bishop g5 and bishop f4.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing else. Let's show this. Queen d6. I'm thinking this and bishop f4.
And there she goes, yep.
I don't know if there's anything better like c5, just to insist, but this seems to be enough. Just get the queen, no?
Yep.
And here black just took on b4, and of course this was not a problem for white. He won this. It's a queen up. And still a lot of checkmating ideas.
Yep.
And another passed pawn. Black resigned.
Nice. And I think the first starting position is very instructive.
This one.
Where knight d5. I know it from the Smith-Morrow game, but because it's like a theme in every second game almost. But like when the king is standing like this and the pawn on e6 and e4, then that's often a move you should like consider.
It's a theme in the Sicilian in general.
Yeah.
95. Yeah, it's seen in many games.
Oh, we have Danish people in the house. TLM. I assume you're Danish. Maybe you're just talking about me.
I'm just going to go to the next game because I have some very nice ones to show you. We're going to finish with a real king hand, so I've left that for the end. I have a long king travel where the king goes all the way to b8, the white king.
That's a long journey. That's a
long journey, so I think that's the treat, so we will see it last.
Okay. This is white.
Yeah, he's the white with the white pieces. He plays against Gurovic here.
And this is a blitz game.
This is not a blitz game, no. This is a classical game. It's in the European Championship in 2007. And this is a Queen's Gambit, the exchange variation, quite a normal position for the Queen's Gambit. And here the most common plan for white is to start the minority attack here, a3 first, b4, maybe rook b1 and b5. But we wouldn't see this game if white would have gone for this.
If a3 is the move, then I doubt that this would be something
that it should be here. No, he goes for a different plan here, which I found very nice. He goes rook e1.
Okay.
So now if the rook goes here, b4 is not going to happen anymore without the rook on the queen side. The point now is to play in the center and on the king side. It's a plan that I haven't seen so much, so I think it's pretty nice. He goes knight d5 now. There goes knight d7. This is also quite typical play. Bishop takes and f4.
Ah, it's a nice move.
Yeah, give this knight a little support. And he will, of course, prepare for an attack on the king side now. g4, f5, they are all coming next. f5 is actually a huge threat right now, yeah? So now comes f6. What would you do now?
I'm not used to sacrificing my knight on e5, so my first thought is, of course, to move the knight.
Yes.
And we don't have a whole lot of squares to choose from. We can either go to f3 or we can exchange it for this knight on d7.
Yep, that's the question that I have for you here.
And I feel like I'm not a huge fan of putting it on f3 because I think that a good plan for white could also be to go with the rook on f3 and put it on one of these two squares, g3 and h3. So unless there is like a very good point about going to f3 because you want to jump somewhere else, but no, I think I will take on d7 and then maybe do the rook lift, or maybe just go e4.
So you want to take on d7 and go e4, and how about your pawn on d4 afterwards?
Is that under attack?
It will be after I take on e4.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I would just go for the rook lifting plan with rook f3 and rook g3 instead.
So you would go for this, and rook f3. You'll have to play f5 somewhere along the way if you want your rook to h3.
Yeah, then they could go to g3. Yes. That's also, I don't want to,
You don't want to play f5, so you want rook f3 here immediately.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Maybe.
Let's see that. Rook f3 here. And you want rook g3. Is there a specific threat about rook g3? I don't think so. Let's go rook e8. Oops. To be honest, I like playing f5 and g4 if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
You still have a chance to play f5 now, and Own Style also wants to play f5 somewhere along the way. You can go f5 here.
Yeah, Own Style. I think f5 was the right move. Yes. Then rook moves and f5.
But
one thing, I feel like Greek gift coming on. The Greek gift is taking on h7, right?
yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I mean, here.
And we need to get rid of the knight first, at least. I think it was just at some point, like not right now, but maybe in the future. Yeah, maybe the rook lift is stupid.
It's not stupid, but I think It's not stupid at all. It's something that you have as an idea here.
Yeah.
But maybe trading the knights on d7, what I wanted to point out here is that trading the knights kind of helps black get the pieces out. Because I've suddenly brought my rook out, my queen is better on d7. You don't have a plan with e4 because whenever you play e4, you have to be careful with the pawn on d4.
Yes.
It's definitely easier for black to find something here.
And so what if we put it back on f3? Then
I like this move, knight f3.
Yeah.
This move, knight f3, it was the move that he played.
You could sacrifice it, but no, I couldn't see that.
No.
Knight f3, yeah.
I like this idea of just let black untangle his pieces. He will still need one move, which knight b6 is what he played. Then he will still need to move the queen, and then if the rook comes in, that's a third move. If you take on d7, it's just one more move. Rook e8, and black is fine, bringing the pieces out. And all the ideas that we were looking at are still here. It doesn't mean that if you have a knight on f3, you're not going to go for g4. You're still going to go for g4.
Yeah.
They're all coming nicely there. But the knight on b6 is out of play. Your knight on f3 could participate in the attack. You have an extra piece in the attack as well. And the knight is also defending d4 in case you want to go for a move like e4 later on.
Yeah, it is a fine knight.
It is a fine knight. You don't want to give it for this bad knight, sad knight on b6.
Yeah, why not? It was a simple move, knight f3.
It was a simple one, but an important one, I think. It makes a big difference here about keeping the advantage. So here black goes h6, trying to stop g5. But of course h4 is coming.
Yeah.
Queen here, and now queen g2.
I think the reason I wasn't such a huge fan of f5 was that it makes the bishop on d3 look bad, but it's only like temporary. Because it's like g4 and g5.
It is only temporary, yes.
Yeah.
Because when you play g5, that opens. I was just looking on the chat on YouTube because I hadn't been watching this. Many people join. Where is Shahriar? He's here playing the game. We're just looking at his games.
He's not here live.
No, he's not here live. He has been, but not anymore.
Yeah. Oh, and nice we have a Dane in the chat. I'm always happy to see
fellow
women
chess
in the
players.
Chat. And what else? Oh yeah, and somebody's asking if I am also a woman FIDE master. I want to say Raluca is a woman international master, not woman FIDE master, woman international master. No, I don't have a title yet. Yeah, that's the important yet. Yeah.
Okay, so here he goes rook e8.
Yeah.
And at this point we have probably many good moves. If you want to play for g5, okay, right now you have to be careful. This pawn is hanging.
Yeah.
But probably a useful move is king f2.
Yes.
A double idea. You defend e3, but you also want to play g5, and the king is in the way of the rook. You will probably want to use the g file for the rook later on. So king f2 is one move that we have here. And there is, of course, e4 that he played in the game. Takes. And here black goes queen d8, which is a little too passive. And this is the move that gives white the advantage already. It's funny how just a little move can change everything. So far here, black was doing fine, more or less. And queen d5 would have been the best move. Queen d5 because e4 is hanging in many lines. Rook e4 is there, giving up the rook for two pieces. And the queen is somewhat closer to defending the king side. For example, here white can go g5 anyway, because if rook e4, g takes f6 wins the game. There's a checkmate here, very annoying one. If g6, okay, there's no checkmate after g6, but just pawn takes looks
very
good,
convincing. Yeah,
just win everything. So first here, black has to take. Pawn takes. Again, rook e4 is a little premature because of pawn takes h6. Again, there are problems on g7. So take once. But at this point, for example, rook queen g5, which is a move that was played in the game, does not work because of rook e4.
And now we don't have
f6 because of the queen on d5.
Yeah.
The queen on d5 is very important here.
Yeah, that's a good point. It really comes down to those subtle
Subtle
differences.
move, yeah.
Yeah.
We could go knight c3 to chase the queen away, but still now the rook on e1 is hanging, so black gets to trade some pieces. We could take once. And here I think black could take either way. Rook e7 I've played, but bishop c4, and this bishop is also an important piece in the attack. It gets traded.
Yeah.
We could go f6, but the rook will just stay here on f7.
And our king is also looking a little bit shaky right now, right?
It is, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
You have to be careful because, well, here, don't get carried away. f6, rook f7, don't get carried away with knight e5, for example. Queen d4 and suddenly...
Yeah. I see we have a question in the chat. I also want to say hi to Juan David. It's nice to see you in Argentina. And then there's a question if black could go h5.
After g5, after taking once, I guess. Here.
Yeah, instead of taking.
At this point. Because earlier f6 was hanging, so this is the only moment. Like here, h5 doesn't work, no? Because takes here.
Yeah.
But at this point, after takes, here h5 could be a move. Does it work?
Can we play g6?
g6? Yeah, g6 looks like a move that I would like to play here after h5. The bishop is trapped.
And we haven't sacrificed anything.
We haven't, no. But so we could.
Yeah, but so black doesn't have the luxury yet of giving back any material.
No, he doesn't. But here we could sacrifice something because there's an interesting idea that I see, knight f6. If you're so eager to sacrifice. I think this is the moment to do it.
Yeah.
Queen g7.
Convincing. Again.
Okay, so the queen on d5 is doing a great back.
Are we back?
Can you guys hear us? Are we back? We just got disconnected. I don't know what happened. Can you guys hear us? Let us know if we are back. I think we are back live. I see us on Twitch. I see us on YouTube. Okay. Apparently we are back.
Back, yeah.
That was weird. Don't know what the problem was. But anyway, looking at the position here after g5, f takes g5, h takes, queen takes, and here it's not so simple anymore. Knight h7, and the queen stays around. Knight h7 because f6 needs to be defended somehow. f6 has to be defended from knight f6 and from f6. Yeah. So knight h7 is necessary. Queen h4. And now knight d7. I think knight d7 makes a lot of sense in a game. Now we know it's a mistake, but it does look like a defending move. It does look like you want to cover f6. You want another piece. The knight on b6 is not doing anything. Maybe it could go to f8. But it's just not so good here. It gives white time to bring all the pieces. Maybe somewhat better would have been bishop d5 to just remove this knight.
Yeah, threatening some exchanges.
Yeah. And then put this other knight to f6. And then I imagine that f6 was what black was looking at here. It looks scary, but g takes, king f2. Now black can take here once. Knight e1, not to trade the other rook. And rook g1 is still coming. But it seems that here king f8 is enough. Just getting out of the check and maybe managing to run away. Not something that you would easily play in a game. No,
we'll have calculated this as black, I think.
Calculate it very well and see that here there is no mate, because it's more than that. Probably seeing that here nothing is happening was more complicated. Well, let's go back to the game and see how this unfolded. Knight d7 and king f2. And this is a very nice idea now. He plays knight f6. Takes. Rook h1 first. There's a horrible queen h8 checkmate idea. This is the only way to defend. Check here. Bishop g8. And now he plays a very good move, which is rook h to g1. Very precise. Rook h to g1 because you still need the other one on e1. Very subtle move also. What is the threat of rook g1? Can you find it?
Well, because g7 is protected, so it's not as simple as just taking on g7. What could we do here?
What do you guys think the threat is after rook g1?
I mean, there are ideas about going here and here, but it seems a little bit slow. Also, there are some ideas about going knight here and here, but it's not checkmate. And then I don't see what the rook is, the purpose of the rook on g1. What is the rook on g1 doing that it's not doing on h1?
By rook g6, is that a huge threat? Rook f6? There is something about that, but
it just seems like it's one move too slow.
Okay, that's kind of true. So what other moves are there? Bishop c4 is a suggestion. Is that bishop c4? I think there's...
Bishop c4 is being suggested, yeah.
Yes, but do we need the rook on g1 for that?
No, that's the thing.
There it goes. There goes the threat.
I'm puzzled by the rook on g1. It must be something.
Twitch has it. The Twitch chat has it now.
Oh, really?
KB dudes, that's the threat.
Is it rook e6?
It is rook e6. That's why you need the rook on g1. And precisely this rook from h1 and not the other one. Because now the rook pins this pawn on g7. So you want to take on f6 and take on g8.
That's smart.
And then you're also hitting on g7, so on rook e6, nothing can actually touch the rook.
It's a nice... also, it prevents any potential like counterplay from black, because the rook on e6 is just like cramping black's position in a way, right?
Yes.
Then black can't really make use of the e-file.
And I think this position is already very difficult for black, because it's what do you play with black here? This rook is not allowed to move, the rook on e7, at least not this way, because of the checkmate.
Yeah, it could almost be like a Zugzwang.
Just to show you the idea, no, I'm just playing a random move here, b5, not helping in any way, just to see the threat of rook e6. Now you want to take on f6 and checkmate, and in case of rook f7, defending the knight for now, you renew the threat.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if we take on f6, then the queen takes. That's the problem. The rook can never take because of the checkmate on g7.
And the pawn can never take.
The pawn can never take because of taking on g8 with the queen, I would assume, and then this rook e1 there. So here rook g6 renews the threat, and now we are threatening once again to take with the rook on f6, with the rook from e6. And in case of takes, pawn takes, rook c7, let's say. And now maybe something like bishop f5, just bringing more pieces into the game and just defending the pawn, maybe follow up with what are we going to follow up. We really want to move the knight from f3, I think, so probably a move like king g2 should be played first, so that we don't lose d4 with check, and knight, maybe knight g5.
Yeah, knight g5 and knight d5. I wanted to say that about the knight on f3, that I didn't like so much putting it there in the beginning, but I can see now that it's really it's helping, because it's also protecting black's only threat, which would be like to take on d4 with check.
Yeah, I have to be careful about moving that knight too soon. The game continued with queen d6, and we see rook e6 again on the board. He played queen d7 next, and now we get rook f6.
Yeah.
No, actually he resigned after rook e6.
Ah.
Yeah, this didn't happen in the game. This was our biggest threat. Rook f6 and queen g8. Very nice attacking game. Playing everything with.
Especially if it's like the norm to play on the queen side. It's nice.
That's the most common. Yeah, that's the most common plan. Rook e1 is possible, but it's not so common as the other plan. Okay, moving on. I still have more things to show you. This is a famous game. Sorry?
Lord Pegasus saying that rook e6 is the boss move, and I agree with that.
Attacked by everybody, no? But nobody can take the rook.
Mm.
This is a famous game. It's his win against Boris Savchenko. In 2016, I remember that I had seen this game before. I had completely forgotten about it, but then I remember when I saw it. And I liked it because it's a king hunt without any queens on the board.
Yeah, that's a little rare.
That's not so common, no? So in this position, okay, white is slightly better. Black has some problems with developing the pieces. Castling is not so easy because e7 is hanging in many lines. Actually, not with the knight, but with the bishop, we would have to take if short castle. So what white does here is rook c3, starting to bring the pieces, making space for the rook on h1, double on the c file, and here what I was saying, that castle does not work because e7 is hanging, and we have to take with the bishop, not with the knight, because if we take with the knight, then after knight takes, this one here on c4 is hanging.
Yeah.
But if we take with the bishop, then if knight takes, this would be check, so it's all fine. And of course, if bishop d5, f8 is hanging. So yeah, it's just a pawn up if castle. King d7 was played in the game.
Okay, active king.
Active king, but not so safe in the center though. White has all the pieces there. What would you do now with white? What would be your next move? It's a very instructive moment now.
Well, the natural move would be to bring in the rook on h1, but I would put it on either c1 or b1. I mean, on b1 it would threaten to take on b7.
Yeah.
And it feels like it would be passive for black to try to protect it with the rook, right? Rook b8 would be a...
Yeah, I think rook b8 would be quite...
Yeah, it would not be something you want to do. Then he just gives away the c-file.
And so, maybe bishop g3 simply wins the pawn.
Yeah. That's just not what you want to play. So maybe he would have to go b6.
I agree, yeah.
And then The knight on c6 is not as well like secured anymore. So maybe something. Oh no, we can't play that just yet because the knight on d5 is hanging.
But rook b1 is a very good move. That's why I stopped here, because rook b1 weakens
Yeah,
a
I
little
can't
more.
find anything concrete, but d6 should be a weakening move. Yeah.
Yeah, that increases a little bit the advantage. You could go rook c1 as well in this position, and it's fine, but the rook on c1 with the pawn on b7 is not so active because the knight is well protected. So this is a very nice idea, rook b1, provoking b6. It doesn't mean that you're winning right away, but then the knight on c6, maybe bishop a6 at some point, all the light squares are weak. So he just comes back, rook c1. There's nothing.
So it did what it needed to do on the b file and now.
Yes, just come back. Exactly. Some ideas, yeah, with bishop a6 and maybe bishop b5, that's right. So rook d8. Black is trying to coordinate the pieces, and probably his next move will be king e8 if white allows it. So this is quite an important moment in the game. It's a moment where you realize that if you don't do anything right away, then black will play king e8 and maybe start coordinating the pieces. The knight on d5 will be hanging, and okay, for a moment I thought we got disconnected again.
There was a very, very short break.
Yeah. So what do we do now with white? So this is a critical moment.
Yeah.
Own style has it. Have you calculating it through?
Somebody already have it?
Yes.
I'm not gonna look yet. I'm gonna look in a second. But my first idea is to go knight f4. Just because it prevents king e8.
Okay, you have ideas about the knight on c6.
C4, rook takes c4. We still prevent king e8 because then the knight is hanging on c6. But maybe in that position, black could move the knight and try to exchange the rooks in the c file.
I don't think that works. I was looking at that, but e7 is hanging whenever the knight goes away.
e6 is hanging.
e7, sorry. e7 is hanging. The pawn on e7.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna look to see who found what in the chat.
Bishop b5, Lord Pegasus loses the knight. So bishop takes d5. Yeah, we don't have anything after bishop takes d5.
Knight takes e7 is also suggested. And a few people are suggesting bishop b5, but yeah, I don't see it because when the bishop takes on d5, it's protecting c6.
Yes, that's the point.
So let's take a look at the other move, which was knight takes after knight takes e7. Okay, so the line here that Onsal is suggesting is taking on e7. And then after the knight takes, then we go bishop b5. And then that's a check.
King d6.
King d6?
I'm going to play this out because yes, that is the move. Knight e7. Knight e7 is the move here, but there are still things to find here. If bishop c4, any other move that's not knight e7 loses, because bishop c4, knight c8, the rook on d8 is also hanging, so there's no time to... And the bishop's hanging. There's just not enough time for black to get material. So knight e7 is the critical line. Here bishop b5 and king d6. What next?
If this is a king hunt.
This is a king hunt.
Then I think it's bishop g3 now.
Bishop g3 and king d5.
Yeah, but then the king.
How do you? Yeah, then it begins. But you're down a piece. So what are you going to do after bishop g3, king d5? Where is Mamediarov? This is a game of Mamediarov. This is not him giving a lecture. We're just looking at his games.
Then we go check.
Then we go check.
Not, then maybe he just goes. No, then I think he has to continue the road into our game, right? Because if he takes with the rook, then we take back in
on c4.
But I'm not sure if black has enough. If it's
that's 2 pieces for the rook.
Not.
I wonder if I can survive in that position. Maybe get my bishop away. Rook c4, like you're looking.
Yeah, bishop c4, rook c4. Rook c4.
Bishop c8 or bishop d7.
Yeah.
Just trying to get e6 for my king. Bishop takes e7 easy. Why is bishop e7 just easy? I take back with the king.
The bishop on e6 is protecting the rook on c8.
Yeah.
So maybe we can play e4. Because if e5 is the problem, then we could try to take that square away. But then we need to find out if this is a problem. But I don't think it is, because then then the bishop goes back. Oh.
So complicated.
Yes, it's starting to get complicated. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this so I want to play bishop g3 checkmate.
You want to play bishop g3, but king d5. Is that it?
So therefore, I'm looking at playing e4 to take.
Oh, so I'm going to go back here.
And then he might take on d4, grabbing a pawn and threatening the rook. And then question is if we play bishop g3 now. The king has no squares.
Isn't king to d3 winning? Probably king to d3 is too slow.
Yeah, because it's not taking d5 straight away from the king. And then
king d3, the idea is to play e4 and get d4 defended, I guess. King d3 in this position. But I can probably trade a few pieces then. So after bishop g3, king d5, isn't rook d3 or f3 just mate? Bishop g3 looks like the most forcing line. So this is where you should
then that's what we should play.
Keep investigating.
Yeah.
So here e4. Here e4. On e4 I have to take on e4. Do you checkmate me? That's the question. Because bishop d3 I will come back to e4 to d5. Rook e3 I will maybe even take on d4. I don't think it's checkmate. This is a very, very nice game. So I'm going to show you the move here. Bishop g3 can be played first. And it still works with the idea that was played in the game. But you have to play this particular move. And I think it's even more impressive to see it at this point where he played it.
That is...
because it's just emprise.
Okay, so I get that it's not losing material because of bishop g3, but is it... Then we just take and the king is...
The king is done on d5, yes.
And the knight is under attack.
The knight is under attack, yes. And then, sorry.
If knight f5...
Yes, if knight f5, what do you play if knight f5?
We're not checkmating him, but bishop c6 looks... Oh, bishop c4?
Bishop c4 is checkmating, yes.
Yeah. Bishop c4, king e4.
Uh-huh.
and f3.
Yes, and f3 is checkmate.
Okay.
And the king, the funny thing about this position is that the king has literally nowhere to go. You could try to move the bishop away. I tried bishop f5 here, but you're not actually making it to e6 because after this check, you still have to go to e4.
Yeah.
That's why we need the rook on c7 to cover all the c file and not give away squares. And then f3 is still a checkmate. So we could maybe try bishop g4 at this point, right? Because this, in this case, the king still has the square f5, but this will be losing by points now. Too much material. The game continued with bishop f6. Here. There. Now you still have to be careful because f3 doesn't win anymore. The king goes to f5 and all the way to g5. And then it goes around the g-pawn and goes to g7.
So if we want to avoid that, we should go bishop d3.
We have to go bishop d3, king d5.
So now we could take the perpetual check.
Yeah, do you want the perpetual check?
No, but I'm saying it's good to know your options.
You're in control.
Yes. If we go e4 now, which is the other check, he
Yes.
can take on d4. But then what? Then we have to make use of the dark square bishop somehow.
Uh-huh.
But do we put f3 or f4? f4 probably to take e5 away from the king.
Nice.
And then
you have no way of stopping bishop f2.
no, and you can't make any. Don't have any checks. Black doesn't have any pieces that can. Oh, we could play knight c6, but we just take that.
Do we have to? I will still play bishop f2 probably.
But then I thought he could go to c5.
No, the bishop does the job.
Okay, you're right. The bishop does the job. Yeah. So the rook is not even
useful now anymore. Here Black resigned at this position.
Understandable.
Understandable, yeah. So let's move on to the final one, which is...
The final, there will be a very long king hunt, right?
Yes, this is the best of all. Okay, I'm going to go here. And let's flip the board because Ahmediyarov is black here.
We have time for it, but Nina is asking if rook e4 was made.
Sorry, let me see. No, rook c4? Is there...
Wasn't rook e4 made? Is
rook e4? How? When rook e4?
I'm not sure. I think towards the end.
Rook c4 is not checkmate because there's a bishop on e6. And rook c4. Yeah, rook c4.
Yeah, and rook cannot go to e4, so...
No, rook c4 was...
then bishop, yeah. Okay,
and then bishop takes, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not checkmate. Okay, let's see this one. This is Ahmediyarov with the black pieces. Wait.
With the black pieces?
Yes. And this was a modern defense. We don't have queens again.
No?
No? Funny king hands today without queens. Black is doing great in this position again. He got an advantage early on in the opening. But here is where he starts actually completely opening up the king. Bishop c6.
Okay, yeah.
Threatening this guy here. And after c3, a5, obviously, right? Takes, rook c1. Again, we have many good moves, but how would you continue here? How would you make improvement at this point?
I would consider both playing rook b5 and rook a8 to make them some threats on b2 or a1. But on the other hand, it's kind of nice that right now you have the choice. So maybe waiting a little bit.
The thing is, okay, rook b5 works, but on rook b5, you're not making progress because this knight can defend on d3.
Yeah, so maybe it's better to just wait a little bit by committing to one file.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to wait?
Another piece. So I'm thinking the knight on f6 could be more active.
Okay.
Also because if the knight moves, then we actually have a potential threat on c3. Not right away, but if we move, then I'm trying to figure out where I want to put this knight. Or maybe here. If we could go to a3, it would be great.
Almost checkmate.
Almost checkmate. Winning material, so that's something. If we could take here with the bishop also pointing on c3, but I'm playing. This is very like tactical shots, so maybe it's a little too.
Knight d5 is being suggested, and then g5 and knight d5 is being suggested. It makes sense to chase the knight away from f4.
Yeah.
But there is one piece that you would really, really need, and it's not the knight. The piece that you just need? What is the piece that you 100% need to checkmate?
I mean, the thing with moving the knight would be that it also improved the dark square bishop, but the weak squares around the white king, are the white squares. So maybe it is white square. I'm just trying to figure out then where it would be better placed. I mean, if we could put it here with the knight not being there, so maybe we should go for something like this, and then if white does nothing, then playing g5, and then this would win material.
That's what you need, the bishop, yes. Bishop d7 was being suggested by Didia, but maybe this bishop d7 can be somewhat stopped, maybe with an idea like g4. Bishop b5 is much stronger.
If you play c4,
then
b2 just becomes like
a big target, yeah?
A big target, so...
I agree. Maybe then you can go bishop d7 and you still have the bishop f5 threat, and moving the knight away, that's a double threat there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need the bishop on that diagonal, h7, b1. He goes bishop b5 here. And c4, like the move that you were looking at, then bishop d7, we want bishop f5, and this knight can go anywhere, and rook b2 would be checkmate. So in the game, okay, bishop b5, we are threatening to go g5 next. And then bishop d3, as you were showing. So here he goes king c2. But this, okay, there's no bishop d3 anymore, but this gives up a2.
Yeah.
Rook a2, king b3. Fine. We defend. And now he goes knight b1. We have to be careful here because knight b1 is a tricky move.
Yeah, when it's trap.
When it wants to trap the rook. So he goes rook a1. Not going to happen. Knight a3 anyway. What do you do now?
Bishop a4 seems logical.
Bishop a4.
Followed by something. Let's just see. Okay, the rook is hanging. And I don't think we can afford to give that up. I'm just gonna look at the checks here first. So we could go d5.
Yep,
Then maybe just knight takes, and if we take back, then the rook is hanging.
that's true. Yeah.
We could also go rook c8, but then he might go over here, threatening the bishop, and the rook is still under attack. I mean, we could take the rook on c1 then, but um, and what else have we got? I mean, then it should be because something like knight d7 is working, and let him take the rook, and then somehow we can checkmate him here.
But I think the king will come back to d3.
Yes. Come back to what?
To d3?
Yeah, I was thinking about knight e5, but the problem is that then the dark square's bishop is blocked, and the king can probably go to d4 then. But then maybe there's a discovery, but we sacrifice the whole rook.
It's just, yeah.
A bit too much. So maybe we just have to either take the rook and c1 or play rook a2. But I'm gonna look on Twitch and YouTube to see if.
So which one? Wait, which one would you go for?
Oh, I would avoid the trade. I would play rook a2.
Yes, you would play rook a2.
Uh,
And so would own style.
Own style.
Yes, of
and
course.
Rook c1 is of course also suggested.
Yes, but you don't want to trade the rook on c1. Your rook on a2 is very active and can still put pressure. b2 is hanging now.
Yeah.
White goes knight d3. And at this point, black starts creating the mating net around the king. Again, we have many good moves. You are looking at ideas with knight d7, and it does work here. It's very interesting. But we've seen this idea before, that he creates these mating nets first, take away the king's squares. So it's no wonder that e6 first.
Yeah.
Take away d5, and then we get the knight in. Bishop f4. Probably white is trying to provoke d5, because at least if we go d5, maybe he doesn't get checkmated. It's still winning. We have knight g4 here. And then rook b2, but it's not a checkmate, which is a big accomplishment for white in this position. With the king on d4. Probably very much losing. But black goes for checkmate. He goes e5. e5 takes away the square d4. This is important. And now he can go d5. King c5. The dark square bishop, yes. The dark square bishop does need to activate, but you no longer need to move the knight.
Yeah, so now you can go to f8 just.
Yes, bishop f8 plays here. King b6. It's nice how he finds the checkmate in any position. It's just not going for other moves like rook b8. They all look good. Knight d7 though is the checkmate. That's what he plays. Rook a7. King c8. Check. King b8. And what do you do now?
Now the rook is hanging.
The rook is hanging, yeah, that's important.
Yeah. Rook a8 is of course an option. Rook a8. Then he goes.
Then he goes to b7.
Yeah.
He escapes somewhat.
Do we play knight c8? Is that a sacrifice we can make? Knight c8, he will take. But it's a little bit difficult. The rook on a2, we can't really count too much on that.
Ah, yes, you don't have rook b2.
Oh, okay.
And bishop d6. Yeah, own style is helping you with the checkmate with knight c8, which is also checkmate. Knight c8 leads to checkmate after bishop d6. But you have many suggestions on the Twitch chat of rook d7, which you found also now. It's the simplest way to checkmate.
White king must be exhausted, yeah. It's like a marathon.
It was a marathon all the way to b8.
Yeah.
Bishop d6 is checkmate next. Here white resigned. One move away from checkmate. And it was such a nice hand, king hand, no? It would have been such a nice king hand with bishop d6 checkmate. This was a game played in 2007.
Okay, that's quite kind of old.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking about that, Mamadyarov is one of the strongest today, then yeah.
Yeah, he was 2700 at the time as well. 2757. Yeah, very brutal. It was a beautiful game, so I thought it would be nice to wrap up with this game. He has many other very good games. There's a lot of material to study if you want to look at his games. But we are going to stop for today, finish our stream. We will have one more king hunt next week. We still need to decide on the player. And then we will probably change our topic. We will think about something good. If you have suggestions and would like to see something in particular, let us know.
Yes.
Something that Sophie would play or she would like to study as well.
Yeah, and so we have had this King Hunt series, and before that we both had
the Benoni and the Nimso.
And the Nimso. And maybe one about the dragon, I think.
We did look a little bit at the Maroczy structure. Maybe we could see some games in the Maroczy.
Yeah.
For both colors.
Yeah.
See some good games there. Great games in the Maroczy. I can see it.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Well, thank you guys very much. If you have any questions, please send them now. While I tell you to go to coaches.com when you have the chance, and if you need to hire a coach, there are many very good coaches there. There are also master classes with famous players. Sophie attended one with Shirov and she was very happy with it.
I've attended a few of the master classes and they've all been very good, and of course my sessions with Raluca are amazing.
Yeah, so there are many more things coming up next. Coaches is not an app where you can play. Coaches is an app where you can take up lessons. But if you want to play, you always have Chess24 or the Play Magnus app. And you can also play Judith now.
I don't think we'll do the Bound Cloud.
No, I don't think so. At least not yet, no. Maroczy would be great.
Yeah.
Or other accelerated dragon ideas, structures. Yeah, that would be nice. Try analyzing a bone cloud. No, I don't think we'll do that. Well, thank you guys very much, and hopefully we'll see you next week at the same time. Let's see how the schedule is. But yeah, we normally keep our time, 3 p.m. CEST. We're going to wrap it up for today. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.